Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Luv Everything Podcast. I am your host, Tasmin Bota. I am so excited to start this next chapter of my life with you, podcasting. And what better way to kick off this first episode than giving you some insight on what this podcast will be about and a little bit more about myself? For those of you who have followed me over the years, you will know that Life Love Everything started as a blog. That's right, a blog. And I started blogging because words have always just been my thing. And when I started the blog, I was a mom of one and had more free time to focus on writing. And the wonderful thing about this particular brand, the Life Love Everything brand, is that I've been able to write about anything. And so when I had my second child, who was born prematurely, I found that the blog started becoming more prematurity focused as I was deep in the trenches of prematurity. And I didn't want the sole focus of the blog to be about that. So I took a break, a long break. And in the break, I ended up having my third child and essentially ended up not having the time to blog at all. But I never ever wanted to get rid of the brand. I always believed it had the potential to do anything with. And so when I came across podcasting, I know I'm a little late to the party. I thought it was the perfect way to bring the brand back to life. And so the Life Love Everything podcast was born. And as I began my research on starting a podcast, I quickly realized that if I sat and waited for perfection in terms of having the right equipment, a quiet environment, the perfect sound quality, that I was never going to start. And I'm one of those people who believes in chasing whatever dream you have, no matter what. And I was reminded of an episode one of my very good friends, who unfortunately has passed away, rest in peace to Gillian Bird, did. In this particular episode, she talked about doing it while afraid. And I'm propelled every time I second guess myself, every time I listen to an episode and try to edit and hear the quality isn't 100%. I remind myself that one, imposter syndrome is real, and two, to do it while I am afraid. And so, this is not going to be one of those podcasts where everything is going to be perfect. In fact, more often than not, I think it's going to be real life happening in real time. You may hear kids in the background. You may hear my birds chirping. You may hear cars driving by, a lawnmower going, or dogs barking. I'm not striving for perfection. But I am striving to build a community where we can talk about life, love, and everything in between. So, as you guys have already gathered, I am a mom of three amazing boys. I am a wife to a great husband who drives me crazy at times, and I'm sure we'll get to hear about some of that in the podcast. I am a stay at home mom, but I also run a non-profit organization called Preemie Connect. Preemie Connect is a parent led organization that provides emotional support, education, and raises awareness for families affected by prematurity. I also run an online store that specializes in preemie baby essentials called Preemie Baby World. So, yes, you will definitely hear a lot about prematurity on this podcast because my reality is that prematurity is a big part of my life. And I would not be my authentic self if I did not speak about it. I will definitely be having guests on as well to speak about this topic, share their lived experiences, have experts talk about evidence based research, and more. But we will also dive into various other topics pertaining to motherhood because I'm a big maternal and newborn health advocate. We will talk about family and the complicated dynamics that come with it. We'll talk about my love for reality television, the complexities of being a stay at home mom, and so much more. The possibilities are just endless. And, in my vision of starting this, to be quite honest with you, a big part of it was the fact that being a stay at home mom has been a very isolating experience. Um, I understand that dynamics in life do change, and it kind of knocked me for a 6. And so, it's taken a very long time for me to find my footing again. But as my kids are growing up and getting older and not needing me as much, I am finding myself trying out very many new different things, podcasting being one of them, but also trying to grow my other businesses in different ways and to expand them. And so I might be sharing some of that with you guys as well. Um, I think I've been in the quiet season for some time. I think I'm heading into the growing season, which I'm so excited about because, as one of my dear friends, and if NLP coach Tabia would say that sometimes, God calls us into the quiet so that we can be in our planting season. And now I think it's time, now that I have planted, um, it is time to grow, it is time to flourish and soon reap the benefits of the fruit of our labor. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm also entering another chapter, with the fact that the kids that are growing, everybody is starting to go to school now. And yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how does that work? How do I juggle that? Is it going to give me more free time or is it going to add more stresses onto that? And yeah, also dabbling back into the world of working. I'm thinking of that as well. And so I love the fact that the podcast allows me to speak about all these different ventures, that we don't have to only specifically focus on a particular genre, a particular brand. And, for some people, it might not be their cup of tea. Sometimes I know there are specific podcasts that I listen to because they are a niche, and I totally understand that. I understand that Life, Love, Everything might not be for everybody, and that is okay. I am okay with that. I have learned to grow to be okay with what I do, what I say, who I am is not necessarily for everybody. It's taken a while to get there, but we live, we grow, we evolve as people, and that is okay. What I do want to tell you guys is that I think you're going to get to see a different side of me. And I'm kind of excited about that because as I am starting to come back into my own, not just, I feel like for a while I've just been kind of one dimensional or two dimensional in the sense that I've been solely focused on being a stay at home mom, solely focused on being a wife, and been dabbling a little bit in the other aspects of my life. But, getting lost in the face of motherhood has been real. And I'm excited to rediscover myself, rediscovers my likes and dislikes. I've come to realize that with age, things that you used to like 5, 10 years ago aren't necessarily still the same things that you do like now. So it's kind of interesting to see that and to learn that. But I'm also excited at the fact that this platform is going to give us an opportunity to meet and speak to and speak about things that we won't necessarily speak to or see in our everyday lives. I feel like I have a vast network of people that I know, and of friends that I've had conversations about things in our personal journeys that I feel would be great content for us to discuss on the podcast. And it's going to be so exciting to see how that develops and how that grows and how that evolves. So I'm so excited for you guys to come along with me on this journey and for us as a community to grow and evolve, because I know between the time of when I've last posted on the blog to now me launching this podcast, which by the way has taken almost, if not more than a year to actually get into place. Um, I think when I come up with these wonderful ideas at 2 a.m. in the morning or whatever time of the day it is that I'm having these moments where I think that launching something new is a great idea, I don't really understand the work that goes in behind the scenes. So like I said in the beginning, we are doing this imperfectly, and that's okay because life is imperfect. And it's been quite the learning journey. I don't even think I've learned half of what I need to learn in order for the vision to end up in the way that I want it to be. But I know that learning is steps. Just like a baby learns how to sit up, just like a baby has to learn how to crawl, just like a baby needs to learn how to walk, just like a baby needs to learn how to run. That's what this podcast is going to be about. And essentially, this is my third baby. If you think about it, I started off with the Preemie Connect brand. And obviously there was I started off, I'm lying to you guys. I started off with the Luv Everything blog brand. And then we had Preemie Connect, and then we had Preemie Baby World. But now the blog has evolved and it's no longer a baby. And I'm excited to see what direction it's going to go in. And so with our launch, we are launching, I think the goal is 10 episodes for season number 1. And it's going to give you a good insight into who Tasmin is. A question that I actually find myself having to keep on asking myself as I evolve, as I grow, as I learn more about myself, Tasmin the person, and not just Tasmin the mom, Tasmin the wife, Tasmin the advocate, just me the person. I'm getting to know myself again. And I think you guys get to experience that and learn with me as I grow. Some of the episodes are going to be really in depth. They're going to be really informative. Some are going to be long, some are going to be short. We're trying to find that sweet spot. But sometimes I have a lot to say, and sometimes I don't have as much to say. And so I'm also learning about writing down my ideas so that you are not left listening to me just babble about whatever it is that my heart desires, even though I think at times it might be just that. And I'm finding the perfect formula, that's going to work for us and work for us as a community, because the podcast isn't just about me. The podcast is about us. It's about us evolving as a community, because you guys have been there since the blog days. And if you haven't, and if you're new to the podcast, I am so interested in hearing what you have to say, about what do you think about the content, what you'd like to see, where we can improve. I'm open to constructive criticism. I think it's necessary in order to grow and to flourish and to learn. And yes, for you to reach out if this is something that you would be interested in being a part of. I know I have some wonderful people in the network, and who I'm sure I will be reaching out to. But if you would like to reach out to me too, you can definitely do that. And yeah, I want this new chapter to be as enlightening and enriching for you guys as it has been for me, walking this journey and getting this baby to where it is now. And as we know, with the saying of when it comes to kids, it takes a village. I feel like that actually is in all aspects of life. We cannot do this life thing on our own. And so I find myself that whenever I do start a new project, I reach out to people who I know have either walked the journey, or know a bit about what it is that I'm venturing into. And I'm always, open to receiving nuggets of information, or even if you're willing to hold my hand through the situation. And I feel it in my soul, that this is the correct direction in which the blog was supposed to go in. Like this is the next step in where we are going to be, or where we're going to evolve into. and I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing ride. So yeah, sit back and enjoy. But also, I think it would be great to have some interactiveness. So, Life Love Everything does have an Instagram and Facebook page. I suggest that you log on, like, and follow so that you'll be the first to get updates on when we are dropping new episodes, when we are looking for guests to be a part of the show, and all thing life, love, everything. And so, with that being said, I know that this first episode is, I think it's the perfect length for me. And also for someone who has a very, very busy life, and you've just got a good, cool 20 minutes to spare. And I am looking forward to what the future has in store for us. So thank you for listening to this first episode. I look forward to seeing you throughout this season and beyond. And hopefully, it's only onward and upward from here. Thank you for joining me. I am your host, Tasmin Bota, and this is the Life Love Everything Podcast.